Well, the Browns do the unbelievable, or maybe believable, losing to the worst team in football. But there's some bright spots coming out of it. Fantasy football playoffs. You got questions? Who to start or to sit? I got the answers for you. And a Thursday night best bet. Let's get to the show.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast with Andy McNamara. The sickest Cleveland Browns podcast.
Chubb runs, he's to the 10, 15, he's to the 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. There goes Chubb. He's to the 30, 20, 10, 5, touchdown, Shabba-lubba hub.
It's gonna be sick.
Hello, friends. It's another week, another Browns loss, another game to get ready for as Cleveland is officially eliminated from the playoffs. Make sure you're clicking subscribe, notifications on for the channel. You got your fantasy football questions? Hey, man, make sure you're hitting me up either in the chat here on the YouTube channel. That's why you subscribe, notifications on, or on X using hashtag AskAndy at SickPodBrowns, at AndyMC81, Instagram and TikTok too, at AndyMCSports. That's where you'll get my post-game reactions like the one we had coming off of the 31-29 defeat to the Tennessee Titans. So many firsts. The Browns are they're always on the wrong side of these stats that they throw out, right? There's never the Browns are the first team to win X number of games in a row. No. In this case, the Tennessee Titans had not scored an opening drive touchdown all year. What do? March right down the field like a hot knife through butter. Score the touchdown. The positives we'll get to in a minute in the dog bones and doghouse. All right. But the question to me is, was this a case? And I think it was. I got the feeling that this team and this defense with Jim Schwartz was way more concerned with getting Myles Garrett the sack record. Got one, by the way, 3 away, than stopping the run. You let Tony Pollard, whose butt is sitting firmly on my fantasy bench, by the way, because the guy hadn't done anything in 2 months. Why not talk about a weak winner? Got you 28 fantasy points if you had him in. Not me. So I thought the Browns defense would stop him. They've held Derrick Henry to next to nothing, held top running backs next to nothing. No. Tony Pollard exploits you. Outrageous. Terrible coaching. You know what? Let's get to some dog bones and doghouse awards. All right, dog bones, Shedeur Sanders. Come on, man. Come on. Kids got it. Put the hand up. And now it's like everybody gets a sack, number scored, and they do the Shedeur thing, right? They're doing the mocking celebration. The stats you've seen, but we'll go over them again. 364 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick, ugly pick, and ran 1 in as well. The kid is growing. Now, I have to say his 2 best games have been against 2 of the worst teams in the league, right? But this is limited time that he's had available, only 12 full quarters. You look at what he's been able to do. Poised, folks, some of the placement on the ball, that over the top, the fan and the finger touch, to Njoku. You got the pieces there. And while I am a Fernando Mendoza, no matter what, I'm now saying I'm at least going to keep my mind open and see the rest of this season. Does Shedeur Sanders give the Browns enough to say, hold on, maybe we fell ass backwards into some luck here finally, despite themselves, and don't have to spend it or trade everything to go up and get Fernando Mendoza, who I still think is going to be absolutely phenomenal. What a stud that player is. I would still take him. If they finish it or somehow you don't have to trade anything and get Mendoza, I'd take him. Sorry, Shedeur. But can Shedeur Sanders be enough with a full offseason? And more importantly, and this was brought up by friend of show Tony Grossi on ESPN Cleveland today, is Shedeur Sanders good play and improvement doing more to save jobs or doing more to expose the poor talent evaluation in that Browns front office? Now, I'm not in that front office, but I know Dillon Gabriel is a bad NFL starting quarterback option coming out of college. You got Big Will Howard there who beat him. Dink and dunker Dillon Gabriel. I can find you a Dillon Gabriel undrafted every year. No problem. You want a little runt guy running around? Not an issue. Send him to the CFL. I don't even know if he could start here in the CFL. People in that building put a 3rd-round grade on him. Outrageous. 7th round, maybe. Undrafted, sure. 3rd-round grade. Now, word came out the Browns had a 4th-round grade on Shedeur Sanders. And a lot of it was, okay, off the field as far as personality, rub people the wrong way. But if you're telling me talent-wise, you put Shedeur Sanders, exiled him to the practice squad, practicing with undrafted guys, no first-team reps, and he's improving this much? Shame. Get the bell from Game of Thrones. Ding, ding, ding. Shame. That's your talent evaluator? Whoever the collaboration is, that's who you want picking your next quarterback? No. That is a damnation on those talent evaluators who didn't think Shedeur was good enough. You got to clear house. Dog house, everybody else pretty much outside of Harold Fannin and Shedeur Sanders. Special teams a joke. Again, unspecial teams, just a debacle. Big returns, blocked punt, bobble punt. Come on. Defense not paying attention to Myles Garrett is the focus, and I get it. I want him to break it, but you let Tony Pollard run through. You let that game get away. In April, we'll probably be thanking it because higher draft pick, but man, that is rough. Browns, I think it was like 14% chance to get 1st overall pick. Just disgusting. Disgusting play calls. The 4th, the 2-point conversion with the Quinshon Judkins. And then trying to give it to Gage Laverdane. Bobble, back and forth, reverse this. The Browns continue to not change, adjust, or improve when it comes to coaching staff or front office. They make the same mistakes. They're undisciplined. And they always think they're the smartest people in the room. Dumbest smart people in football do that play. And you take Shedeur Sanders, who's red hot off the field. I'm very interested to see what they're able to do against a much better team, a Chicago Bears team, and a team that my old buddy from TSN Montreal, Simon Tsalikas, is going to jump on right now and talk some Chicago Bears that he's a big fan of to break this thing down. Simon, how are you, buddy?
Andy, how you doing?
Great to have you, my man. And look, you're a long-suffering Bears fan. We've talked over the years. How's it feeling? I know you're coming off of a loss to the Pack, but you got to be pretty happy with this year.
Yeah, mixed emotions, because if you would have asked me like in July and August or early September, this is the one thing, Andy, just to show you that I'm not a greedy guy. I am not greedy. I don't ask for even postseason burst. I don't ask for like Super Bowls. I just ask for one thing. When my friends who are Eagles fans, the Cowboys the last couple of years, the Bills, meaningful football in December.
Yep.
I don't want to tap out in November. I don't want to watch football where I'm at the point, well, do I want Caleb Williams to get blown up so we can get a better draft pick? Or am I tuning in to give you 3 hours of my life to watch my guys blow tackles and drop balls? No, as a fan, you tune in and the first thing you're looking for is a win, your team to play at a high level. Mm-hmm. So I've only asked for meaningful football in December. Andy, I got it. I'm pleased with that. Check the first ball. For you. Now, get back to me in 2026 December. The tune might have changed, but for right now, I'm very content with the season that they're having.
Well, much like we've seen the New England Patriots, what a difference. You get the right pairing of a head coach and quarterback. Sounds simple. I'll tell you, from being a Browns fan, quite difficult for some teams to get that right. You pair the right coach and Ben Johnson, and we've seen tons of guys, coordinator guy, come in, fail, and all that. It looks to me, Simon, from the outside that Ben Johnson has got Caleb Williams. And how often do we see? You can look to Trevor Lawrence and others. You get that mix up the first year, you can ruin a quarterback. But like, are you happy with Caleb Williams' development? You got a much better offensive line in front of him. That helps.
I'm very happy with the development. I think I find it a little bit odd, Andy. I find, and I've never been in this position, because even Jay Cutler, when he came over from the Broncos, I'm just talking about the last very good quarterback, let's just say the Bears have had. The critique for Caleb Williams, I find, again, maybe I'm being too sensitive. I don't know. I find it harsh. I find it overly excessive. Just being, doing TSN 690 in Montreal in the summer, I remember asking some of my co-hosts or producers, I'm like, I'm hearing this like stuff like make it or break year for Caleb Williams. I said, really? I've been on TSN 690 for about 20 something years. Never heard anybody tell me Trevor Lawrence had to make it or break it year, specifically in year 2. Kyler Murray, another first pick, first overall. Those guys have taken, according to my math, close to $300 million each from their respective franchises, right? Their first contracts, and then their entry level and their payouts. Never heard that it was a make it or a break year for those guys in year 2. I think it's nuts to even think that, right? Mm-hmm. I've liked the development. I think it's the perfect mix, quarterback and head coach. And I think you're right about that. When we look at the long-term 10-year success, not the teams that have been good for a minute, but the teams that have had long success. You look at Belichick and Brady, you go back to Bill Walsh and Joe Montana, even Phil Simms and Bill Parcells, the Chiefs as well, for sure. I think there has to be said something about those two entities working. I like the Ben Johnson hiring. Those two hirings I wanted was Ben Johnson, that offensive mind, to go with Caleb Williams, or it was actually Mike Vrabel, because I don't think he's the world's greatest X's and O's guy, but accountability and culture. Yeah. And I loved what he had done in Tennessee, very quietly under the radar, very good team in a non-big time market. Mm-hmm. I felt the work that he got done there under the radar was great. And he's proved that with the Pats, because you look at the Pats, Andy, you're an expert when it comes to fantasy football. I returned to fantasy football after a 10-year hiatus.
Wow.
Yeah, in my draft, I didn't see Patriots running backs, tight ends, and wide receivers jumping off the board in the first 3 or 4 rounds. So it is about a collective. It is about turning that culture. And when you get it right with your head coach and you get it right with your quarterback and it happens to work together, you've got a leg up on everybody.
Yeah, and it seems in Cleveland that it should be coming to an end of this regime. 6 years. People can say 2-time coach of the year, Kevin Stefanski, that's fine, but you're going to be back-to-back seasons at 3-14. You just can't have it. You can't. And Deshaun, and it's a shame. The owner took accountability, saying the Deshaun Watson swing and a miss is on him. They might bring him back. It's a total gong show. But at some point, you got to move on and try to get that next pairing. Is that with Shedeur Sanders? Is that with another quarterback to get out of the draft? I don't know. What's your thoughts on Shedeur from afar in his 12 quarters of work?
What I like about it is that that finally they said that it's going to be his team and run with this team until the end of the year. So as an organization, that's a nice blessing, right? You're not bringing in a guy in week 17 or, playing against the team that's already clinched a playoff spot or whatever. He's going to play very meaningful football over the next 4 games, live football against NFL teams. That's better than anything you can possibly see on tape. That's better than anything you can see when he's playing against your own scout team. So I think for the Browns here, it is a blessing. And I think that, we always talk about, I'll go back to the Bears for a second. This Caleb Williams, what's his ceiling? Is he going to be the next Patrick Mahomes? Is he going to be the next? No, but you can make a living and be a good football team if Sam Darnold's your quarterback. Now, with Sam Darnold comes you always got to worry about that next step. Your boy, Baker Mayfield, what is he on? Division number 3 or 4 in a row? So I don't think these guys have to get Shedeur Sanders doesn't have to be Patrick Mahomes.
No.
But can he be part of a 12-5 Browns team? Yes.
Can he win
a great run game, a couple of wide receivers? So I think we put this out there so that these guys have to be epic. The NFL is proven. You don't have to be epic. You have to be, you have to go out there and play at a high level. And, you'll have to deal with a hiccup here or there. But the kid is good. He's going to get his look. And what a blessing it is for an organization if you don't have to go into the 2026 draft looking for a quarterback.
Boy, and I still love me some Fernando Mendoza, man. Oh, that's my draft day movie. Mendoza, no matter what, on the sticky note, pop it up on the board. That kid's the real deal, man. I'm telling you. But the Browns also need 3 or more offensive linemen going into next year. Your wide receivers are among the worst in football. Yeah, you got a lot of needs. So if you have, like you said, if you can use those picks, you get the 2 first-round picks on an offensive lineman, on a wide receiver, and you build up. Now you're building around the guy, which is what we saw with Caleb Williams. The offensive line year 1, horrific. Spent a lot of capital on that. You get a few weapons, and now all of a sudden the kid gets a bit of time. Imagine he looks better.
Yeah, and especially with the run game, right?
Yeah.
You build your O-line. That's where they spent their money. It was a major issue for them. They addressed it. It seems like they got it right. They'll be tested on Sunday, when Myles Garrett shows up. But it starts and ends with that. It starts and ends with protection. It doesn't make enough noise. I think, Andy, for those who tune into the podcast that are, hardcore football fans, we know it, that you're going nowhere. If you're Patrick Mahomes and a all-world tight end, good wide receivers, the years that they've kind of, not just this year, but the years prior to this when they couldn't get it going or just fell a little bit short, was because their O-line was exposed. And when your O-line's exposed, even if Patrick Mahomes is your quarterback, there's a limit that's going to take you. So if you're the Browns, you think you got your quarterback, build that O-line. I'm not going to say it's easier to get better at the skilled position, but you can find, talent late in the first round, late in the second round at the wide receiver and specifically at that running back position.
Yeah, if you have the right talent evaluators, which I'm not sure.
I love the point you brought up. I think that point is awesome. I had a buddy of mine many, many years ago. I think it was Austin. It was something Austin or Miles Austin was a wide receiver for the Cowboys. And I think he tore up the Browns or something on it.
He did. He played with the Browns for a year. Yeah,
I remember. This is going like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And I go to this guy. I'm like, hey man, not bad. Guy off the practice roster. It looks like a legit receiver. He goes, yeah, that's the way you look at it. The way I look at it is there's guys getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars and even millions of dollars that can't identify that the guy on their practice roster is better than the guys that are playing on Sunday. And I was like, yeah, you're right. You're right. You got to be able to figure this out. If not, then I can get anybody else to just swing and miss here.
Yes, exactly. That's it. So it's going to be real fascinating because, like I said, Shedeur limited time, his two best games against two bad teams. That's cool. But now against a Bears team that is all around, that has something to play for. So if us Browns fans watching, what are some weak points on the Bears? Something maybe you're after a good season that you're not happy with, that maybe a Myles Garrett could take advantage of, or a Shedeur could expose when it comes to Sunday.
Look, Myles Garrett's going to get his sack, maybe more. You want to limit that. I think where the Bears can be really exposed is there is just no pass rush, and they spent money and they spent assets on that pass rush. And you saw it on Sunday against the Packers and Jordan Love. He had time, even when there was blitz, he had time to sit in the pocket for that extra second, which seems like an hour, and just get the ball in the air and drop it into spots. Bears pass rush is nowhere where it should be if you're just looking at the players on paper. I think they can be exposed there. And a secondary that leads the National Football League in takeaways, but they gamble. So if there's an opportunity there for you guys to just maybe sneak one by somebody, try to cheat it down the football field, the Bears will go for the turnover. They'll go for the interception. And I think that's where they can be exposed on the back end. Pretty athletic, pretty good at the running back, at the linebacker position. But the biggest fault with this team right now is it's a non-existent pass rush.
Right. And then see how, the offense can go against this Browns defense. Your prediction, Simon, for the rest of this season for the Bears, like, what are you're looking like? Divisions up for grabs? Like, how, you're going to get into the playoffs, but what are your expectations?
I don't know, Andy. You look at that schedule. I had a loss against the Packers on the road. Now the big one's going to be next Saturday against the Packers, 8:00 at home. That's a must win. And I think this weekend is an absolute must win against Cleveland. You drop the ball here, you're done. It's congested, right? Because the Rams, the Niners, and the Seahawks, a whole bunch of those guys are getting to 11. And the Bears 11 might not be good enough. The Packers continue to play at a high level. We'll see what we get with the Lions. And the Bears have the Packers, tough game in Chicago. They have the Lions in Chicago. They go to San Francisco, and then it's the Browns this week. So still a lot of heavy lifting to be done. They need to figure it out this weekend. They need a win. And then after that, they need to win in any shape, way, or form. An ugly victory, any victory, an undeserving victory. Niners miss a field goal at the buzzer. We'll take it. But they're going to need a little bit of help to get in here because that NFC is pretty loaded, specifically the NFC West.
Well, I'm looking at it. Yeah, 3 wildcard spots, right? So you got Bears and Lions as it stands now. Let's say Bears and Lions. Then Seahawks, Rams, whoever doesn't win that division, and you could have a great
not be enough. 11 might not be enough because you might lose a tiebreaker in there somewhere.
You could lose a tiebreaker. Interesting. It's going to be a fun game. I'm interested to see how Shedeur can play against a team with something to play for that's tough. And of course, Myles Garrett's march to that record. Hopefully he can, get a couple there and get real close. That's a fun thing in a bad Brown season, my friend. I'll tell you that. But Simon, tell people can they find you? We love it when you hear you on TSN 690 and everything. You got great takes and all that. Where can people find you on socials?
On socials at Simon TSN 690 on X, and of course every Saturday, every Sunday on the starters on TSN 690, 10 to 12.
Love it, buddy. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Andy.
All right, talk to you soon. There he goes. Simon Tsalikas from TSN 690, a Montreal Bears fan. I've been talking football with Simon for, oh my gosh, longer than I care to say, but quite a while. Love Simon. Great job there. Now, we have fantasy football business to get to, folks. Okay? And for that, we got to go under the wire. Now, we're looking at situations where you got to be real careful and not outthink yourself when it comes to your fantasy football playoffs, right? Still be active on the waiver wire. Example, we're seeing Blake Corum of the Rams. We're seeing almost an even split with him and Kyron Williams. Last 2 weeks, he's been popping. He's been getting multiple touchdowns. I'm pulling up his fantasy points here specifically. 2 this past week, 1 the week before. Carries going up 7-12. Not catching a lot out of the backfield, but did have 1 catch. And we're looking at mid-teens to mid-20s. And you're playing Detroit. So this is a situation where 33% ownership for Blake Corum. Another guy, you want wide receivers. Now, you got to watch to see the state of CeeDee Lamb. Okay, and he's somebody I brought up earlier in the year. And then he popped a little bit, and then, CD came back, and then he, went away again. That is Ryan Flournoy for the Cowboys, 26.5 fantasy points. Now, I mentioned that previous stint that came in week 5 where he got 18.4 fantasy points, right? So when there's an opportunity and he's able to step in, guy produces. And Dak Prescott went to him a lot. So keep an eye. Now, if CeeDee Lamb's cleared and ready to go, no. But if there's a question or he's going to be limited, I wouldn't shy away from Ryan Flournoy there for the Cowboys. The quarterbacks, Bryce Young. Wow. Who would have thought? Bryce Young, over 20 fantasy points in 2 of his last 3 healthy games. Has been good. Panthers are 7-6. I don't have to like it. I don't think long-term he's a good quarterback. But fantasy-wise, he's doing it. Well, why not? Right? Marcus Mariota, you got to just park Jane Daniels, man. Another issue to that elbow. Stop. Okay? So Marcus Mariota getting back in is back on the table. We've seen him produce at times, has had some chemistry, can use his legs. Another running back, Chris Rodriguez Jr. for Washington. Doesn't have the pass catching, but clearly the go-to when it comes to running. And Browns, how long have I been telling you, Harold Fannin Jr.? Boy, and with Shedeur, the chemistry keeps growing each week. Each week. David Njoku, if he's not coming back or he'll be limited, knee injury, glad he had a touchdown last week, but he was banged out. Harold Fannin Jr., what a bulldog. Guy's the real deal, man. Guy's absolutely the real deal. Fannin Jr. is right there. And, we look at, for tight ends, that's tough. Like Mike Gesicki, maybe, again, it's a case where now the Bengals are eliminated. What are we looking at? I don't love it. Jaden Higgins is possible for the Texans here. Now, I just want to take a quick look because I like them going into last week. They're playing Arizona, who are also eliminated. Now, he came back down to earth. Now, he had 5 targets, 3 catches. Okay, the previous 2 weeks where he popped 5-5, 9-4 with a touchdown. So the target share is about the same, just didn't get the score. And against Arizona, this is a case where I think he could jump back up. So just that's not super exciting, but I would go with Flournoy over him. Maybe Luther Burden the third against the Browns defense, slot guy, maybe he can get open a little bit, but I expect the Browns defense to respond in a big way. They were embarrassed, and hopefully Miles can get his sacks and get going. But let me know what you think. What do you want? Are you happy Shedeur is going to be the starter the rest of the year? Have you seen enough to say, let's go into the next year? Do you need more? Right? What are you looking forward to the rest of this season? For me, it's Miles to get the sack, and hopefully Shedeur proves that we don't have to draft a quarterback. Give me that problem, please. And see what he has over a full offseason. Clear house. Get a good quote, like the Bears did with Ben Johnson. Build around him, man. Let's do that. So if you have any fantasy football questions, of course, hit me up on X at SickPodBrowns, at AndyMC81, Instagram at AndyMC Sports, TikTok at AndyMC Sports as well. And people, you know it. DraftKings is here. All right. Thursday Night Football is coming. And DraftKings is the official sportsbook of the NFL, official sports betting partner of the NFL. It isn't just football. It's first touchdown fireworks, anytime TD rushes, live bets that ride every momentum shift. At DraftKings, every play is your next shot to win. And new customers, this one's for you. You bet $5 and $300 in bonus bets is yours instantly. Plus, grab over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Your season starts now. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code SICKSPORTS. That's code SICKSPORts to get $300 in bonus bets instantly when you place your first bet of $5 or more. Plus, over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV in partnership with DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, fees may apply in Illinois. 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. NFL Sunday Ticket offer for new subscribers only and auto renews until canceled. Digital games and commercial use excluded. Restrictions apply. Additional NFL Sunday Ticket terms at youtube.com/go/NFL Sunday Ticket/terms. Limited time offer.
All right, and a quick bet for Thursday Night Football as we kick off Week 13. Falcons at Buccaneers. Baker Mayfield still dealing with that shoulder issue. And you're talking fantasy football, I'd shy away from Baker. And really, Bucky Irving probably be one of my only for sure guys because we're not sure how Baker. That's the same thing you had in 2021. Remember, never got it really fixed and it affected him. We're seeing that again. I still think at home at 7-6, they got the Carolina Panthers on their heels. They're also at 7-6. You got to win against this Falcons team. Division game, Bucks by 4.5. I'm not sure how confident I am about that. I would take Bucks money line and the 44.5 over under. I would take the under. I think it's going to be a lower scoring game with Baker. Got Cousins. Yeah, so Bucks to win, under 44.5, and let's get it done. So make sure you're coming back Sunday. We'll have Bears-Browns preview. We'll have our fantasy football start sits. You jump in the chat, get your question answered live on fantasy football. And the Parlay Party NFL betting ticket is there. So we'll have a lot of fun that Sunday at 10 a.m. Eastern. Make sure you join us there. Big thanks, Talking Bears with Simon Tsalikas of TSN Montreal. For producer Shane, I'm Andy McNamara. We'll see you Sunday. And until then, go Browns!
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast with Andy McNamara on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.